I never thought in a million years that I would end up homeless. I had a good job, a wife, kids, a nice home, and there I was, sleeping on the beach, collecting cans, doing anything I could to survive. I even made a sign and was at SeaWorld Drive. It said, "I bet you can't hit me with a quarter." And people were throwing money at me. It was humiliating, but it was also very profitable. But you know, anyone could end up living on the streets. An illness, a bad break, a bad decision, a breakup, a loss of a job, a rent increase could all land somebody on the street. What I ask of you tonight is when you see someone who's homeless, look past the ratty hair and the dirty clothes and the desperation and see the person, because underneath that is someone who is somebody's brother, somebody's sister. You never know what you might see if you look a little harder beyond what you're seeing. For instance, someone you're looking at may actually be an author who went undercover to see what it was like to live as a homeless man. And it changed my life. I met the most interesting people. You know, a lot of homeless people have college degrees. Many of them, when you get to know them, you realize they're really well-informed. They're smart. They read the paper. They talk about politics. And when you get to know them a little bit better, you find out a lot of them are hardworking. You have to be hardworking and resourceful to survive on the streets. You'll also discover, as you go and meet more and more homeless people, that some of them are war heroes. Others, they're some of the nicest, most talented people you'd ever meet. But a lot of us don't see that. You know, I bumped into an old friend from high school when I was homeless. His name is Larry. The last I knew of Larry, he was a very successful guy. He had graduated college, had a degree, 2 children, a wife. He'd worked his way up at Costco all the way to a manager. Everything was great. And then I looked at him, and I couldn't believe I was seeing the same person. He looked malnourished. I mean, he had all of his clothes on. I mean, like this. You know, all of his whole wardrobe was on his... This is coming off. It's coming off. There. All of his clothes were on him. And I said, "Larry, why are you wearing all your clothes?" And he said, "Well, I have, nowhere else to put them. My body is my closet." And so I said, "Well, where do you live?" He said, "Well, I live over here." And he showed me. He lived between the Konos restaurant and the Tower 23 hotel in a cardboard box with rats. That was his home. And so when I saw Larry, I said, "How can I help you?" He said, "I can help you." And so I met him on the first day I went homeless to research my book, and he showed me all around. He took care of me. He watched my back. And I said, "I have to do something for you." He said, "You can buy me my meals." So I said, "Okay, I'd be happy to do that." So I would buy him his breakfast, which was vodka and orange juice, his lunch, which was vodka and cranberry juice. By the afternoon, it was just straight vodka. Now, Larry was an alcoholic, and I was just pretending to be one. I could barely keep up with him. But we went around, and we talked to a lot of people, and we got to know beyond what you'd see. And I got to know Larry a lot better as well. And at the end of it, when it was time to say, "Hey, you want some help?" He's like, "I'm not an alcoholic. I only drink on days that end in a Y." Like, yeah. I said, "Yeah, I'm not an alcoholic either. I only drink on people's birthdays on Facebook." But Larry didn't want my help. So I went home and went back to my real life, but I'd ride down to Crystal Pier. That's where he lived, down in Pacific Beach by the pier. And I'd visit him, and I'd talk to him and say, "How you doing? Is there anything I could do? If you ever need help, come to me." Finally, he wanted to get help. And so he got sober. Larry has been sober for 6 years. He has a good job. He has a home. He has a car. He reconnected with his wife and kids. By all accounts, Larry is successful. And so I think when we look at people who are homeless, we just see what we see. But there's a story behind that. And I would love for you to, the next time you see somebody who's homeless, treat them like a human being. We call it homeless people. Let's just call them people. And let's look at them and say, "How you doing?" Give them a smile. Give them something to eat. Give them a water. Those were things when I was homeless that meant everything. And you know what? Those of you in the audience are very much close to being homeless, more than you think. A lot of people are just one bad decision, one bad paycheck, one bad illness away. So let's be good to those people that need us most. Thank you.